And to introduce her panel, I'm delighted to welcome Project Manager with Visit England Business Support, Vicky Parr.
Morning, everybody, and well done for getting here for the first keynote speech of the day. As Stuart just said, my name is Vicky Parr, and I'm a project manager with Visit England. And today we wanted to talk to you particularly about English Tourism Week. But what we're going to do is we're going to split the session into, I was going to say two halves, but they're not quite equal halves. I'm just going to start with some slides about the value and volume of tourism currently in England and Britain, just to set the scene a little bit. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about English Tourism Week in case you're not familiar with the campaign. And then I'll introduce you to my lovely panel, and they'll tell you about what they're doing in their particular destinations for English Tourism Week, and also what they're planning for the future, to give you some really useful ideas for trips and visits for the latter part of this year and for next year as well. Okay, so let's get started. So just to say, these are very much headline stats, just to give you a flavour for how the industry is doing at the moment. And actually, this slide talks about the domestic picture for day visits in particular. And actually, this is quite a positive picture all round compared with the data for 2023. So just to pick out a couple of highlights, I'm not going to read through the whole of the slide, but in 2023 there were 1 billion day visits, and that was an increase on 2022. Spend was also up, both in nominal and real terms, so that's where the total is adjusted for inflation. And that total is for last year was £44.4 billion. And the average day visit spend in 2023 was £44 per visit. But in real terms, again, with that adjustment for inflation, that was slightly down. So last year, London, not surprisingly, saw the largest share and the strongest year-on-year growth for both visits and spend for all of our English regions. And also that was echoed in the larger cities as well. But beyond London, the South East accounted for the highest volume and value across England in 2023. So visiting friends and relatives remains the most frequent type of visit and has shown growth again since 2022. And the last piece of good news is that visits to attractions were also up year on year. So when we start to look at the inbound picture, we're not quite caught up yet with the pre-pandemic levels, but we are definitely making progress. So again, visiting friends and relatives remains the highest reason and the best growth as the purpose for visits to England and Britain. And holidays are still a little bit down, and business visits still have some way to go to pick up from those pre-pandemic levels. Interestingly, when you look at the destination of our inbound visitors, North America has already surpassed its 2019 levels, which is fantastic, whereas Europe is still tracking a little bit behind. And the rest of the world is quite mixed. So as you can see on the slide, Europe is still 9% down on pre-pandemic, and Australia, New Zealand, Saudi Arabia are up, whereas East Asia destinations are still well below. And you can see on the right-hand side of the slide there just an indication of the visits by inbound visitors to the various destinations in the UK. So we can see that those destinations that have really bounced back so far are the Northwest and Scotland, whereas the rest of the country is a little bit slow at the moment. Okay, so now we're looking ahead and looking at what we're hoping the stats will deliver for this year. So we're still on inbound visitors, remember, and again, not quite as positive as the domestic slides, but still showing growth and a catch-up for pre-pandemic levels. And actually, the volume of inbound visitors to the UK reached 97% of the pre-pandemic levels for this year. Spend is expected to have exceeded pre-pandemic levels for 2023, and the forecast for this year is 120% of the 2019 figures. But unfortunately, when you adjust those for inflation, the target for 2024 is just under. So it's just 96% of those pre-pandemic levels. But certainly, really positive steps, as you can see from the graph. So that's my little snapshot. So hopefully quite a positive outlook for both domestic and inbound visitors to England and the UK. And as I said, those slides do just literally give you a really tiny snapshot of the research that we have available. And it's now even easier to browse and interrogate the data on research and insights via our industry website, which is visitbritain.org. And we've popped in there a nice easy QR code for you to jump straight to that on the website. Research is updated on a regular basis, and a few of the recent releases I'll just mention to you now. One is the Great Britain Domestic Day Visit Survey for Q4, and that was released last week on the 12th of March, so that's new and hot off the press. Similarly, we have the GB Tourism Survey, again for Q4, which is due out next month. So that's not just day visits, that's a wider stretch. And then we also have the International Passenger Survey, which is where our official inbound statistics come from, and that is due out next week, the 26th of March. So if stats are your thing, have a jump on the website. There's a huge amount of data on there for you to join in on. Okay, so that's the data and the stats bit over. Now I want to talk to you about English Tourism Week. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, we are right slap bang in the middle of English Tourism Week. And it's an initiative led by Visit England, and it takes place every year, usually around this sort of time. It's not fixed because it usually ties in with when Easter falls. So it usually happens a week or a couple of weeks before Easter starts, and signifying the sort of start of that peak spring and summer season. So if you don't know about English Tourism Week, let me tell you a little bit about it. Obviously, we're very proud to lead this initiative, which actually started last Friday and runs until Sunday this weekend. And the aim is to celebrate our diverse, exciting and vibrant sector and highlight the quality and the value of English tourism across the country. So this is perfect opportunity at the British Travel and Tourism Show to be here talking about English Tourism Week at one of our keynote tourism shows. So the annual campaign raises awareness of our industry among key stakeholders, including MPs, ministers and the media. We all know how fabulous the tourism industry is, but sometimes the rest of the economy needs to catch up. So that's what this is all about. It forms part of Visit England's mission to champion the sector through political engagement nationally, regionally and locally, demonstrating to political decision makers the importance of tourism in England and the local destinations. So our aims are to increase awareness among consumers of the quality and variety of the English tourism offer and encourage domestic travel. As I said, it's time to kickstart the spring-summer season and give businesses and destinations a marketing hook to engage with customers and encourage bookings. So also, in addition to that, it gives businesses an opportunity to engage with local stakeholders such as the MPs and media, and to bring attention to tourism's contribution in their area. So we lead it nationally, but we rely on our local partners to deliver it locally, hence why my lovely panel. So, just to talk about one of our key initiatives in English Tourism Week, which is Tourism Superstar. Now, Tourism Superstar is a competition that champions individuals and teams within the tourism industry who are our ambassadors in the industry, providing unforgettable visitor experiences. So they're usually customer facing, they're usually strong characters, and they are nominated by their employers or the destinations, and the winner is decided through a public vote from a short list of 10 finalists. Now, if any of those lovely, gorgeous people on the screen are in your area, you can still vote. Voting is still open, and the QR code in the top right-hand corner jumps you straight to the page on the Tourism Superstar. So do give them votes. It's not. I have access to the voting, so I can see how it's doing, and it's not a done deal yet, I can assure you. So if any of those are in your area or in destinations that you know well, go online. You only have one vote, so use it wisely. You can't vote for everybody. That wouldn't work. So yeah, if you would like more about Tourism Superstar or English Tourism Week, use the QR code at the top. The winner of Tourism Superstar will be announced next week. It's quite a quick turnaround, and we are able to present them with their award at the Visit England Awards for Excellence, which this year is going to be on the 5th of June at the Titanic Hotel in Liverpool, which I'm very excited about. So, I'm going to wander across the stage to my lovely panel. So I'm going to get them to introduce themselves because you've heard my voice for long enough. So, Jo, can I start with you? Just introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Hi, so I'm Jo Butler, and I look after the travel trade and the conferencing for Destination Plymouth.
Lovely. Sally?
Hi, I'm Sally Graff. I look after the Cotswolds Plus region, which includes the Forest of Dean and Wye Valley and the wider Cotswolds area.
Stella?
I'm Stella Burks, and I manage Visit Derby, which is part of Visit Peak District, Derbyshire and Derby Local Visitor Economy Partnership.
Lovely. Last but not least.
And I'm John Chamberlain. I'm Head of Marketing for Visit West, which is the Local Visitor Economy Partnership in the Bath and Bristol region.
Lovely, and thank you all for joining me. As you can see, they are all on stands here today, so if you have you particularly want to interrogate them about anything they've said today, then do take a note of their stand number and you can catch up with them later today. So my first question is, what are you doing to promote English Tourism Week in your destination? So John, can I start with you?
So we've been across the team very busy. My colleague Catherine Davis was at the House of Commons yesterday, meeting various MPs, not least the Shadow Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, which of course tourism sits underneath, Thangam Debonair, who is a Bristol Central MP, so very important. She's very popular with us at the moment. And then also just really getting the word out to local media, business media, about the volume and value of tourism in our region. It's worth 2.13 billion, 41,000 jobs in the area. So a really important industry in our area, which often goes under the radar in some places. And then in terms of activity, we're here with 5 fantastic stand sharers right at the front, so don't miss us on stand B5. But then also over the weekend and into Monday, we've got a Discover Bath and Bristol event with UK Inbound, bringing around about 30 travel trade buyers to our region, matching up with the similar number of local suppliers as well.
Brilliant. Stella, what about you? What are you doing?
So our teams have been on a road trip all around the county and the city. We took our beautiful English Tourism Week frame with us, and we took photographs of various business partners, and we particularly tried to concentrate on those businesses that, and I'm sure you'll struggle to believe this, but they didn't actually know who Visit England were. I know, particularly young businesses, young up-and-coming businesses, and it really helped to open a commentary with them about tourism and what it can do for their business. So, for instance, we went to visit a young man who's just opened a really expensive trainer shop in Derby. Hasten to add, I'm not wearing them. They cost about £1,500 a pair. But, you know, never had anything to do with tourism before and now really enthusiastic. We also themed our Destination Derby board of partners in the city. We've themed it around English Tourism Week, took a photograph and got them engaged to make sure that they were retweeting, refollowing. And so far we're up to 4 retweets from Visit England.
Excellent. Fantastic.
We've also been looking for new attractions that were opening during English Tourism Week. And we've got a great new attraction centred around historic cars in the city. So we did a photo call from there as well.
Brilliant. Sally, what about you? What are you up to?
So for ourselves in the Cotswolds and wider area, we work with all our destination partners and they take out their local councillors to help showcase what's in the area and what's new. We focused this year on sustainability a little bit as well. So yesterday I was out with our councillor in the Cotswold district area and took him to do some creative artwork at a Larkswold near Morton in Marsh, before going up to one of the towns and having a walk around there and visiting the businesses. Again, that social media element, but it's also important for us to do the internal communications back to all the councillors as well, to ensure that the visitor economy is on their radar. As John said, working with MPs as well. For us, though, key, and I'm going to be taking my opportunity to do a bit of a plug here, Tourism Superstar is really, really important to us. We've had sort of regional finalists for quite a number of years. Blenheim Palace Cleaning Team, last year was Slimbridge, and this year Small Farm, Fairy Tale Farm, which deals for accessibility needs and sort of that small sensory element for reaching out to the farmyard animals. So Liam is brilliant. He goes into local communities as well, and it ties in really nicely with Visit England's theme for English tourism this week, about visiting local communities and being at the heart of the communities. So if you've not voted, I'm going to say, please can you vote for Liam at Fairy Tale Farm in Chipping Norton.
Love a shameless plug. Perfect. Jo, tell us about what you're doing in Plymouth.
So in Plymouth this week we've been lobbying again the importance of tourism to the city. We get 4 million visitors a year. It's worth about 310 million in visitor spend. So we've been pushing those messages out to our local MPs. We've hosted a couple of business breakfasts with them and, you know, showcasing the sort of tourism offer and bringing our sort of key hotels, attractions along. We've also been very active with the Visit England Toolkit, going out to members, making sure they're shouting about what they offer. And really pushing the sort of support local message as well. So residents, locals within Plymouth understand the importance of the visitor economy. And we're here. Plymouth, I don't think, has exhibited here for quite a while. So we've come here with 5 great partners showcasing what our city can offer.
Wonderful. So obviously, if you feel that you could get involved with English Tourism Week, obviously we've only got a couple of days left this year, but do have a look on the website. As I said, it happens every year, and we'd love more people to get involved. And obviously, do connect with your local destination partner, and hopefully they'll be able to guide you and give you lots of ideas. Wonderful. Thanks, guys. Well, now we're going to talk about what's happening coming up in your particular destinations over the next sort of 12 to 18 months. So I'll reverse play. So Jo, I'll start with you. So what can visitors look forward to in Plymouth over the next sort of 12 to 18 months?
Well, we're lucky enough to host the British Firework Championships, which happens on Plymouth Hoe every year. It's a fantastic event with a great vista of the fireworks. This year we're focusing a lot on the National Marine Park. So Plymouth is the first city in Britain to be given a National Marine Park status. So there's going to be a lot of focus on that, and we've secured quite a lot of, about 11 million in heritage funding. So there's going to be a lot of development going on along the waterfront of the city and sort of connecting people with the ocean As being Plymouth, Britain's ocean city, there's a lot of work going on with that. So we'll be developing new tourism product to get people out onto the water, onto the ocean, and working a lot with the National Marine Aquarium, which hopefully a lot of you've just seen the secrets of the aquarium program. So they've developed a lot of new sort of behind the scenes experiences and looking at the work they do in terms of climate change and sustainability. So for us, it's really about connecting people with the ocean, sustainability, and we've got a great events program this summer rolling into next year as well.
Brilliant. Sally, what about you?
Okay, for the Cotswolds, again, there's a wide, always something happening, whether it be events, refurbishments of hotels, new experiences. So I'm just going to pick out a few because we were told we only had a short while. So the city of Gloucester is having major regeneration at the moment, and a new hotel is currently being built in the Forum area, and a new food dock is just opened. So that's the city of Gloucester, where the famous cathedral is that Harry Potter was filmed at. Tewkesbury, just up the road, again, a medieval town on the River Severn. A new Cotswolds outlet centre, a designer outlet centre is being built. That should be open in 2025. In the rural Cotswolds, obviously walking is really important, and a new walking route is being launched this weekend as part of English Tourism Week that connects Winchcombe to Fairford on the River Thames. So those are just a few. A couple of more experiences, particularly for youth groups that might be interested. The 270 Climbing Centre is now fully open, and that is having more development and will be the largest climbing centre in the regional area. And opposite that is the mountain bike centre, so really becoming quite an activity hub. So those are just a few.
Series of events happening in the city, but unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about it at the moment. All I can say is that, you know, were I to talk about this particular character, I'd be at risk of having the blood sucked out of me. But hopefully, before long, I shall be able to put some meat on the bones of that particular person, revolutionary in the city. But I'd just like to credit Ian Wakeman of Ian Wakeman PR for those really corny jokes. And would come along and see us at stand C16, and you can't miss us. It's the Barbie stand. It's bright pink. So come along and see us, and we'll tell you more about some of the fantastic itineraries we've got and fantastic events in the city.
What a tease. And John, finally, what's happening in your neck
I've
of the
got
woods?
2 city destinations to talk about. So in the interests of clarity, I'm not allowed to have a favourite child among them. So we'll go alphabetical order. To start with Bath, very shortly, fans of Netflix Bridgerton, season 3 is going to launch in late April, early May. And there are a number of Bridgerton-themed walking tours and experiences you can have in Bath. And for those that like a more gentle TV program, McDonald and Dodds will be out again in the summer, so obviously set in Bath. In addition to that, 2025 is the 250th anniversary of the birth of Jane Austen. So if Jane Austen is your thing, then there are lots of things going on in Bath next year. Again, like Stella, I can't tell you all about them at the moment, other than the Jane Austen Festival, which happens every September for 2 weeks, will be for the full month of September in 2025. In terms of Bristol, then continuing that set jetting theme, Outlaws Season 3 with Stephen Merchant will be out very shortly. It's in the can. I don't know what they're waiting for, frankly. And then next year, early next year, if luxury hotels are your thing, we will have Hotel Gotham opening right in the old city, about 70 rooms. Really, there's one in Manchester. Look it up. It's very cool. And then next year, everyone's favourite Aardman sidekick, Gromit the dog. Gromit Unleashed is back in the summer with a trail of 40 or 50 5-foot-high statues of Gromit around the city. And then sports fans in September and into October 2025, Ashton Gate is one of the host venues for the Women's Rugby World Cup. And if you know anything about women's rugby, you'll know that England are particularly good. So we hope to host them in the city alongside some other big teams.
Wonderful, wow! And John, thank you for that name check of the set jetting. That you heard it right. It wasn't a slip of the tongue. This is a project that we're very much involved in to encourage visitors to this country to take advantage of the wonderful film set locations. And obviously you heard John and others talk about the really capitalising on those film locations and using those as a purpose for people to come and visit. So do talk to your destinations about what they are doing for the set jetting campaigns. I have to keep reminding myself to say it the right way. Wonderful. So have we got time for some questions, Stuart, if we're...
Yes, I think we take a couple of questions. If you would like to ask the panel, we have a roving microphone. Please put up your hand, and if you do ask a question, wait for the microphone and do tell us who you are and who you represent. So, Vicky, back to you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you very much to my panel for sharing their stories about their destinations. Hope you have a fabulous show, and do come and talk to these guys on their stand as you're travelling around the show today. Thank you very much.